This is Perry Duff coming at you live from the Hustle's Corner, New York City, saying thank you so much for stopping by to check out our show today. Today, we are going to talk about our first in a series of our Black Business Movement series. One of the biggest things within the Black community is the influx of businesses from other ethnic communities within the Black community. And in this particular series, we're going to be talking about one particular industry, which is the beauty products industry. And we're going to be talking with a sister by the name of Tequila Fletcher, who has made inroads into this particular industry, despite it being dominated by decades by the Asian community. And we're going to be speaking to other people like her. So stay tuned and enjoy the show. And we're always looking forward to your feedback. And thanks again. This is Perry Duff coming at you from the Hustle's Corner, New York City. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Enjoy the show.
You know I'm a hustler. You know I'm a hustler. Well, I'ma break it down one time. I'm the man and I'm letting y'all know. Yeah, we getting that guap, that fitted, them chips. Yeah, we stacking that dough. I said I'm a hustler, baby. You know I'm a hustler. You know I'm the man. I'm a hustler, baby. You know I'm a hustler. You know I'm the man. I'm the man.
Well, be the first to welcome you to the Hustle's Corner, New York City. And
thank you.
My name is Perry, and this is my co-host, Jeanette Davis. Say hello, Jeanette.
Hello, how are you?
Hi.
And to our audience, this is Tequila Fletcher, owner of Tressaholic Salon and Beauty Supply Store. I just want to say, again, I want to take this moment to thank you for taking the time to come to the Hustle's Corner, New York City. And we'd like to extend you an opportunity, to share your story with us and tell us, how things got started. What was it like before you got started? Where you were born, where you grew up, and what transpired from the time where you grew up to the point where, as you decided to start this endeavor, and the obstacles that you faced along the way and how you overcame it. And then I want to talk with you about the industry and business itself, because I've learned quite a few things about it to understand where you're coming from what you told me before. With that, I'd like you to please introduce yourself and to our audience and tell us a little bit about your origins, your humble upbringing, and how you ended up where you're at today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tequila Fletcher. I am from Tampa, Florida, born and raised, a mother of 3 children, all grown. Hallelujah.
Oh.
My journey began, I can really say when I've always done hair, ever since I can remember, maybe about the age of 12. And it wasn't until I became about maybe 20, I decided, you know what, I like to do hair. So let me kind of, get into that. So that's how it started. Went to hair school. It was hard being a single mother at that time of 2 girls. I mean, literally to the point to where I was bringing my girls to school with me, like sit in the corner, mama got to go to school. But, thank God that it was one of those places that allowed me to be able to do that. Fast forward. And it's funny because owning a salon wasn't really per se a dream. It just happened on accident, kind of. It was just one of those things that I've always ended up working for people who were very irresponsible. So, I just asked God, put me in a position, a place that I can get something of my own that I can afford. So me and my clients don't have to go through the foolishness. And that's how it kind of all began. I've always been interested in the whole retail side of the business. I can remember speaking to one of our larger beauty supply owners. It had to been over 20 something years ago. And I stumbled up in the store one day and we just started talking. And he literally told me how him and his family got started in the beauty supply industry. We probably talked about a few hours, and ever since then, it's just always been one of those things that I told myself eventually one day I would want to do myself.
Okay, now I want to ask you, as far as you being able to secure the capital and the financing for it, I'd like to ask, how were you able to achieve that? Because that's one of the big problems that I see in the Black community is being able to have access to capital. How did you overcome that problem?
To be honest with you, it was just from my own personal savings that I was able to do this. I always believe in multiple streams of income. I come from hustlers, hustle for the good and the bad, but I understood the whole logic of buying the product at one cost, upselling it, and taking your profits. So my strategy on how I was able to pretty much fund my different businesses and ventures over the years have always been off of my own working capital, which means I take one business venture, save the profits from that, take a percentage to dump it into another. So that's what I did over the course, I say about 10 years of basically doing. So once this opportunity came about, I said, okay, let me go into my little stash house. Let's see what I got. And that's pretty much to fund what I have. In addition to, I can't say that with the whole COVID and the support of the government with the small businesses that we were able to get our hands on a few grants. I did help aid also with me being able to get my startup going. So along with those few grants that I did get, along with my own working capital, I did in fact apply for a business loan because, so many people, I look up to, they always tell me, oh, Tequila, you need to start using the bank's money. So I said, okay, well, let me try this before I start to use my own funds. And I tried. And what was so upsetting to me was this is a credit union that I have been banking with for 20 years. And it's not completely denied the loan. It was the structure of the loan on how they wanted to present it to me. And I refused it. I was like, I've been doing business with you for you. You can see my numbers, over the 20 I've been banking. And this is how y'all handle me? No problem. I denied it.
These conditions that they were asking about, what were they?
It was so ridiculous. Oh God, let me see if I can remember how they even said they wanted me to do it. They wanted me to use credit that I already have established with them. It was just crazy how they was trying to finagle it. I'm like, so do you want me to use, I already have credit, a personal credit card with y'all. So y'all want me to use, I don't know. It was so confusing and so stupid the way that they wanted to do it, and then wanted me to also basically almost loan against my own money. So you didn't want to give me your money. You wanted me to use what I currently already have as working capital to be able to fund my own. That made no sense to me.
It sounds like more like does it sound like they want a partnership deal with you or something like that?
I don't know. It was much of a partnership, but I have heard of loans where that you can borrow against your own money, and
that would be a collateral loan.
I wanted to freeze my own fund for me to borrow against. So I'm just I do that on my own anyway. So why would I do that with you guys to give you a percentage of that and a ridiculous percentage of that as well when I could borrow against myself? I'm my own bank, And that's the way I've always structured myself throughout the years until I understand it about investments and things like that. So I started moving my funds into things like that. But on the whole loan side of it, I'm my own bank.
Yeah, I hear a lot of stories about these loans from the bank. It's not a good deal with it. And then when your business fails, they will take over. Right. And that's the worst thing about it. Now, what I want to ask you, how long it took you to build your company up?
You mean from the salon?
From where you at now? How long it took you? How many years or months or whatever?
I opened my first salon when I was 25.
Okay.
So I had my own salon ever since then. And then, like I said, I just recently opened the store about of last year. But there was a lot of, researching and planning over the course of maybe 4 to 5 years, because I did try to test the waters before actually opening the store. I actually converted the front half of my salon into a mini beauty supply store. And it, the neighborhood that I'm in, it actually did pretty well as far as just with the 300 little square foot space that I had, that I was like, you know what? Because it was just one of those things that I realized that a lot of my clients were still going to the beauty supply store, getting items. And I'm like, I'm losing. I'm like, yeah, I got, the certain shampoos and things that I use with my professional systems that I incorporate in my salon, but I'm still missing out on some money. So I was like, well, you know what? Let me remove half of these chairs. Let me convert this little small area that I have, and let me see what I can do with it. So I use that money as well from the 4 to 5 years that I had that set up going to merge it into this existing space that I have now.
Now, let me ask you, when you said that you were losing, are you saying that the people that would normally, that you said supported you, were still going to the other businesses owned by other ethnic minorities?
Well, what I meant by what I was saying was losing is that I'm missing out on the opportunity of making more income, simply because my customers were still, they would purchase from me. This is before I actually did my whole setup in my salon. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I know averagely what a person goes into the beauty supply store to purchase. And if you times that just with my own clientele, others with the other stylists, that's an extra, a few grands a year that I could be making just off of them, simply not having to go anywhere else. And I used to, even when new people would come in, they were like, wow, I've never seen anything like this. I'm like, yeah, you ain't got to go nowhere else. You get your comb, your brush, your wrap, your scarf, your roller, your spritz, or whatever that you need. You can get it right here. You don't have to make an extra stop down the street. So they appreciated the fact that I literally almost became a one-stop shop because they didn't have to go anywhere else. Mm-hmm. So just off that alone is where I said that I was actually losing, and that's one of the things that I actually teach and preach to other stylists that are, my friends and certain things like that. And I had also even created partnerships with other salons in the area to help them, provide them with extra little small supplies, because I'm like, you can set it up in a way. I'm like, I don't care if you make an extra $200 a year. That's $200 can go to a plane ticket or whatever else you can use it for. Take a vacation or do something nice for your kids, for yourself, and that's the way I've always looked at everything.
Now, see,
okay, cool.
That is proof again. I can't emphasize this enough. One of the things that I notice that is growing is the Buy Black business movement, if I may. However, you have proven once again that it's not necessarily about buying black. It's about finding the right market. And you fill that supply and demand. And you have proven that. You prove it's the same thing. However, I see a distinct advantage when it comes to African American owned businesses. Our community is a community that has been exploited by every ethnicity out there. The Asians, the Muslim community, the Jewish community. They've all come into our community and sold us everything and take that money and take it out of the community. However, in order for us to win back that community, we have to find a market within a market. We have to find a niche. And you found that. I'll give you a quick little story. There was a friend of mine. He used to, up here in New York City, he used to have one of those vendor carts, sell your sodas, your hot dogs, and, like that, blah, 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 blah. He noticed that, and there was another guy that was selling, that was also had his cart, and he was selling, sodas, hot dogs, and blah, 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 blah. And he noticed that the customers came to him and they kept asking for a particular type of soda. They kept asking for, no, I don't have it, He said, oh, okay. So he made it a point to stock up on that soda. The result was that 3 times many people came to him and his vendor than the other guy down the street. Right. All because he filled that one little niche. That's how powerful, taking advantage of the market can be. Another example is, I'll never forget, I used to see this vendor over on 47th Street here in New York City. This vendor did one little thing that all the other vendors won't do. All around New York City, he was the only one that would do this. If you would ask for change, he'd give it to you. It doesn't matter how big the bill was. If it was $10, if it was $20, if it was $50, if it was a $100 bill, and you asked for change, he'd give you change. The result of that one little thing he did, the cars would line up all the way down the block, the taxi, around the corner and go down the other block just to get on the line to come to this guy and get change. And what would he do? He would say, hey, I appreciate you. You need change here. I got you. No problem. Give you change. How about supporting me? Take a cup of coffee from me. Take a donut from me. And they always say, yeah. He was the most successful vendor on that corner just because of that one little thing. However, I noticed that when it comes to the African American community, we have a very distinct advantage that these others from the other community don't have. We have the African American experience. In other words, how many of these vendors from other ethnicities that come into the Black community, how many organizations do they support to keep our kids off the street? How many organizations do they support to combat teenage pregnancy? How many of these vendors support organizations that help deal with the gun violence, the gang violence, the Black on Black crime? How many? I would say that we as vendors, as African American vendors, have a unique perspective on this, and it puts us at a distinct advantage. What would you say about that?
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, you know, and I wish that these people would pour more back into our communities, considering the fact that, just like you say, a lot of them do capitalize off of the Black dollar. You know, it's just one of those things that, you know, we as African Americans need to open our eyes a little bit. You know, I'm one of those people that I believe in that give back by Black. And I feel like if more of us really understand the power of our dollars, then we would do more and give more, even back into like businesses like myself.
This is Perry Odell from the Hustler's Corner, New York City, saying thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come and check out our show. If you are a person that's incarcerated, come and share your story on the Hustler's Corner, New York City, Tales from the Bid series. If you are a person that's been a victim of the system and you were wrongfully incarcerated for a crime you didn't commit, come share your story on the Hustler's Corner, New York City, Victims of the System series. If you are a person that's active in the community, involved in nonprofit organizations and other things that address many of the ills within our community, come share your story on the Hustler's Corner, New York City, Legends of the Hood series. If you are a musician, a rap artist, a hip hop artist, and you want to share your story, come share your story on the Hustler's Corner, New York City, On the Grind series. And ladies, if you have been through traumatic experiences that you've turned into triumph and victory, come share your stories on the Hustle Corner, New York City, Lipstick Stories series. And also check out our Rage page. And we'll give you, your organizations, your books, and any of your music and any other things that you're involved with a shout out on our show. And finally, if you're enjoying this particular series, which is our new Black Business Movement series, please show your love. Help us get the word out, help us to grow. Share this content on your Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram feeds. And smash that like button, and most of all, don't forget to subscribe.
You know I'm a hustler. You know I'm a hustler. Well, I'ma break it down one time. I'm the man, and I'm letting y'all know. Yeah, we getting that guap, that fitted, them shits. Yeah, we stacking that dough. I said I'm a hustler, baby. You know I'm a hustler. You know I'm the man. I'm a hustler, baby. You know I'm the man. It's been part of the plan, I don't think you understand. I see him on the gram while they flexing rubber bands. I'm working on my foreign exchanges out in Japan. $250,000 out in Philly, 50 grand in Michigan. Appearance in Atlanta, that's another 20 bands. Bring it back to the crib and invested in my daughter, yeah, she on the